Welcome, we the people, to another presentation from PM Galleria. This time, we like to present to you a .99 fine bullion painting, and this one is called Seven Lean Cows from the series Things of Old. And what we try and do on this channel is basically discuss the process, some of the thoughts, things that go through our mind when we create these works, what's the meaning behind them, and just express something that may have some sort of impact on, society, things that's going on, things that's, affecting our lives now. And this one, in particular, had been in my mind for quite some time. And when I begin to, well, actually, let me start before I create a piece. It's usually already in my mind for quite some time. So I may be working on 4 or 5 other pieces, but in some compartment or space in my mind, I'm actually putting together this particular piece or that particular piece and just designing in my mind how I like for it to come out. Sometimes, I may start off one way and, it just takes a life of its own and becomes its own thing. And it may be totally different, but still express the same idea or the same situation as I intended it to. So this one has quite the significant meaning to me, and it's a retelling of the story of the prophet, may peace be upon him, Joseph or Yusuf or Yosef, in the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, what have you, but the prophet Joseph, and how he was sold as a slave by his brothers. Actually, 10 of the brothers, out of jealousy for him. It's just a natural brotherly jealousy, but it kind of got out of control, and they end up selling Joseph. Well, not selling, excuse me. They end up, plotting against him and throwing him in a well, and he was picked up and sold to one of the high people that held a good status in Egypt. And as this occurred, before it occurred, he actually told his father, who was a prophet also, uh, about a dream that occurred to him, where as though, the sun and moon and the stars were all, subject to him. And his father knew exactly what it meant, and one of the signs of prophethood is dreams, so that's where you see, the stars come in, and his father immediately understood that, the sun and the moon were him and his wife, and the stars were his brothers that were all subject, and he became afraid that, you know, that would incite their, anger or jealousy. To make a devil come to them and make them do something they normally wouldn't do towards their brother. The devil is very sneaky, and he whispers to you and tells you things silently in your heart. So uh, that's part of the story, but that's where you see, you know, the sun and the moon. And the sun was actually, well, I dabbled in it sometimes. This is one of kind of the things I like to do. This is actually an ounce of silver, uh, representative of the moon, and this is a quarter ounce of gold that I had hand filed, a couple of 10th ounces, and you actually could still see a piece of 1 and 1. So yeah, and this is actually, the stars were made of hand filed silver dust and silver crystal as well. these are all the stars, and as you can see, they all go. And this star in particular was one of Joseph's brothers. It was actually his full brother from both his mother and father. Is represented called Benjamin, and the one star that sat above Egypt, which is what the pyramid represents. And this is actually Kumbu or Kumbuha, I can't pronounce it. Kumbu leaf. It's 24 karat gold uh, leaf paper that we used to create this. And this, I kind of like the feature on it because depending on the view that you go to, you'll notice that the common theme is that with the lighting as well as the view, the actual shadows will change the perception of the picture. So you will begin to see, like now, how the pyramid takes on more of a pyramid shape. Whereas though, if you walk to the other side, you'll see the sun shining off of it. And it's just something I always liked about doing these sort of paintings, because unlike NFT, which I still consider art because it's still an expression of what one has in his mind, I like to give you something with intrinsic value to it. So no matter what, you always got your money's worth, literally. And it just holds, more value to it. And, it's kind of representative. It's my way of fighting back against, what they're doing as far as the economy and destroying our money system. Well, when we had one, now it's a debt-based system. And, it just goes to show. And this is also why I like this story, because it tells of, like now the exuberance and, everything that's going on, and everyone had all this supposed extra money. I know they say the stimulus and everything, but in reality, that stimulus really wasn't a source of anything for the people going out and spending anything extra, because anyone who knows with boots on the ground, that money was pretty much spent before anyone got it. For the working class people, it just went towards debt. So the same people already higher up, closer to the spigot, actually received that. The average man didn't have loads of extra money and this and that to spend, even with moratoriums. Most were in a hole anyway. So, and these are the clouds. And for the clouds, we actually used crushed mother of pearl, and that was a find. I didn't even know that was existence, but I just thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe they had it. I actually had to hunt that down to find it. But it gives like almost this beautiful, seashell quality to it. And I don't know if I'm doing it justice with this phone and the lighting. I know I'm pretty much not, but I'll try. I'll try for you, we the people. And yes, I call you we the people because you are the people. Without you, there wouldn't be any of these people, politicians and any of the sort, They need you to exist. We don't need them, With these moons, whenever you'll see me do anything with the moon, sometimes I may go about and actually have to clean them and go about, because they take on a patina to them after a while, which is one of the qualities that I love. But it doesn't quite have that shine. So when I go back over it and I clean it up, you'll actually see it begin to almost glow when it hits the light, and it's just spectacular. And with the exuberance, in the story, just look at that angle. This is one of the things that I tried to capture with playing around with the angles. And some of you may notice also, I'm in my favorite workspace, which is the basement. A lot of great things came out of basements, attics, a lot of great things. You guys have no idea. You can hear my central air system running in the background, but this is that dark space that I like for light and beautiful things to come out of. It's easier to see the light in the dark, you know. Yeah, but exuberance. And in the story of the prophet Joseph, he was in prison, and one of the guys that he was in prison with, he had revealed a dream and uncoded a dream for him. And I'm just giving you the short version. But that guy ended up going free and telling the king of Egypt at that time about Joseph, who was still stuck in prison for many years, and explained to him, hey, look, this guy, he knows, you know, what your dream would mean. And the king was very perplexed, you know, he's up, worried, didn't know what the dreams meant. And in the dreams, he dreamt of 7 fat cows being devoured by 7 lean cows, 7 skinny cows. And he didn't know what it meant. He came and he told the story to Joseph, and Joseph revealed to him, look, you're going to have 7 years of exuberance, just everything, you know, everything's awesome, and, you know, the sky's the limit, and spend, and, you know, it's just going to go up from here. And he told the people, well, he told the king, you know, that's what that dream represents. And after that, though, you'll get this. You'll get the 7 lean cows, the 7 years of famine. The 7 years of famine. You know? And that's what stuck in my mind, because you can see it playing out now with famines, whether they be from weather, man-made conditions, and just policies of, you know, people with ill intentions towards other people, which is another thing, you know. It just amazes me, the gall of some people, though. I look at it like this: if you think the world is too overpopulated, start with yourself. Start with you. You know, don't have kids, don't marry, and just exit. And it'll be a lot less people on earth. Yeah, you know, trying to eliminate humankind and treat them like cattle. I don't. It's just amazing, you know. But some people, we know, puppets, right? But here you have the 7 fat cows, and these cows are actually a mix of oil painting as well as copper. This is actually copper. This is pure copper, crushed into a dust, a fine powder, a mesh. And these cows are all actually 0.99 fine silver and oil. Hand grind, because you can't find it in the powder form. At least I couldn't. And I actually had to grind this down by hand in order to make the actual copper and give it that look, and patina it and darken it up. And if you notice, this is actually 3D. This actually sticks out from the picture, as well as the rest of the details. All of them do, actually. And you might or might not be able to see it from this angle or the light. See if you see the crystals. You can sort of see the shine of the copper as well. And in case you didn't notice, this also, you may see the shine. This is all copper. The grass field, the plain, is also copper as well. It is a clay copper that I used. And all of these techniques to put this down and get this on a paper, the painting, the canvas, and a method that doesn't distort what the expression, what I'm trying to get across, is all experimental. To be honest, sometimes I may have in my mind, or a couple of times I may try the technique, but for the most part, each time I do each one, it's like sometimes a new material, uh, and it's just an experiment. And I hope it comes out well. So yeah, this right here, the further mountains and plains, this is actually crushed emerald, and I love the shine and the sparkle on it. And this technique right here I used is layering. I actually put in multiple layers, as well as with the mesh copper and silver. These are all actually done in layers, as well as the cloud, like you may notice, and that gives it sort of a 3D effect for me. But it's just about how many layers, and what type of medium that you use, because not all mediums go together well, and certain combinations of certain chemicals you may use, it may actually destroy your painting. That I have learned from experience. So, but you can see here that the shadow, based on the layers, it creates a shadow. You notice from here to here in the middle, and sort of again here. And depending on what angle you go to, it appears as though the sun may be shining. And I had to get these angles like just right, so it looks as though the sun beams down and casts the shadow. And you'll notice here is the line, right? And I just try to express, you'll have those 7 good years, and then right behind it, immediately following, is the 7 bad years where nothing is growing. There is no green, there is no food, there isn't anything. And as in a story, when the people who weren't prepared, as it seems is always the case, caught up in, their daily lives, they weren't prepared, and they end up having to give everything, even themselves. They sold, you know. And that's one of the things with people like, oh, capitalism is bad, this is bad, that's bad. You shouldn't take advantage of people. There's a difference, right? Causing people harm in order to get something or extract from them. I've never believed that is the best way, and God knows best. But saying that it is wrong of people to acquire something when a person has not done correct or the best they could possibly do, or prepare themselves with what they have, is, to me, not a bad thing. It's not wrong. And for others, in my belief, in my personal opinion, for others to say that you're wrong means that you're saying basically that God is wrong, and that our prophets, our examples are wrong. Because this clearly shows you that if the people weren't ready, and Joseph was given a position, and he stored the grain, and he stored everything up, and he purchased whatever he could and did not spend it, and he managed and the economy and finances of the government correctly, and the people mismanaged their money on a personal level and ended up going broke, starving. He actually saved them. He gave them a way to gather something or gain something and to survive and live on. So he bought their houses, gave them jobs, or whatever it is, but he wasn't wrong. Or you telling me that God was wrong and that the prophet was wrong and what he did was, greedy and materialistic? No. Now, I don't liken myself to no prophet, but, I do try to take the examples of them. I don't take all the examples, of course, I'm human just like anybody else, and I make a lot of mistakes. I'll be the first to admit it. But, every man has to have his limit. He has to have things where he says, okay, that's enough, self-governing, you know, and that's what it's about, that's part of being a man. Yeah, but definitely. And Joseph, he did good by the people, which is another thing, he had a responsibility, he took it seriously, and he saved the people. One of the things about the story is that a lot of the people went to Egypt, but why did they go to Egypt? Because Egypt has stored up enough grains and enough food surplus that they could still sell at the same prices that they were selling before. Now we all know that during these times that prices of everything starts to shoot up. Well, mainly in the things that we use every day or everyday goods that we need and necessities for life. But he was selling them at prices that were there before, basically at those levels. And word spread throughout the lands that, hey, Joseph, he has it at a great price, and the people came, including his brothers, which is how they were reunited after some time. And of course, there's more to that story. Uh, so I advise you just look into that. But accountability, now you don't see any accountability. You see places like Sri Lanka where after, who knows, the place is basically just obliterated. Now that people wake up, now that people go after the people responsible, and they're realizing those people are long gone, and the actual people responsible were never even seen. It's just the faces, the puppets that they put out there. Those people are out of here. They ran off. Like you see the people like Steve Mnuchin for us, here in America, Jerome Powell, all those type of people, the Black Rock, the Larry Finks, and all of those people. When the people finally wake up and say, wait a minute, we know who's responsible for this, we know who did this to us, those people are going to be gone. And you'll go to their houses that are empty and burn them down. But regardless to the fact, you will not get back that which you have lost. You know, and that's part of this story. There's no accountability. Unlike Joseph, they are not doing the right thing, and the people are not holding them responsible for it. They are very complacent, willing to give up and sacrifice every and anything, for ease and comfort. And the hard times haven't really even hit them yet. And that's what amazes me. What will happen when, that trial really comes to them? The real trial comes to them. I'm talking about the one here in this life. What will they do? What will they sacrifice? Who will they sacrifice? As it is now, you see people really ready to, kill their children, their unborn children, uh, you know, because of fear. At the end of the day, they fear being failures and just not being able to do right by their offspring, which is part of the source. But you go back to it, it's a belief in God. Take a look at the birds. Every day they leave the nest, no savings account, no bank account, no anything. They don't know if they'll find a meal. They don't know what happened to them out there, but they have faith. They open their wings and they have faith that God will lift them up and keep them up there, that the wings won't die, that their arms won't give out, their wings, and they'll keep on flapping and get to where they got to go, And that belief is strong, and every day, they go through the same cycle again. And here we are with everything at our disposal and our fingertips, and lost. It's just amazing, You got people that don't know what a man or a woman is. It's an abomination, I don't. This world is crazy. This world is crazy. 7 lean cows, right? 7 lean cows. And a funny thing is that this was actually sand. At first, this was actually sand, and the mixture just wouldn't come out correctly because I just couldn't get these sand lines. And if you notice, you'll be able to see. And if you see the sparkle and the shines, because I actually went to copper. I went back to the copper powder and mixed it with sand to give it that texture. So you'll notice on an angle that you can actually see the sand lines, the dunes in the sand at this point. And so I kind of enjoyed that feature, although it did make it very challenging to later on add the shadow in. And a copper clay. And I like working with silver because a lot of times in the theme, you know, it changes. It shines, but then it gets dark. Times get dark. Times get dark. So I'm just hoping people prepare. They understand the message, because now they're telling you we're starving you. We're freezing you. We're gonna burn you up. And people still aren't preparing. And I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised. You know, I don't know if people are in shock almost, like when you're, but it's amazing. And it's amazing that we have an administration that people are still allowing, after even hearing the slightest bit of any of that nonsense. Even just one utter dripping of "we are causing you harm," they should have all been out of here. All of them. Right, left, Republican, Democrat, gone. All, they're wings of the same bird. And they're flipping you the bird while they're flying away, flying the coop with the cash. Right? But you're going to wait. You're going to wait till your children look at you, wonder where the food's at, wondering where they're going to get heat from, how they're going to cool themselves, what are they going to drink. While you wonder where you're going to find work. You don't know. I don't think people really perceive what's really happening to them. They plan on literally, not even in a nice way, just killing billions of people, because the underlying result is that would have happened. Look at Sri Lanka. Hospitals closed, school closed. They set those people back into the Stone Age. Literally, they are in the Dark Ages. No lights, cooking with wood, no school, education lacking, and if you get sick, you cannot get care. Outside of getting a headache or something minor that you could recover from, that doesn't take any type of surgery or medicine, you're done. You are done. But yet, these people get a free pass. You see the president of that country run, jump on a boat, and he's out of here. Where should he go? Where should he be allowed to go? But are we any better? We have our leaders knowing we are critical for resources, sending money, sending grain, sending energy, fuel to other places. If that is not, what is a traitor? If that is not a traitor? If my brother tells me he is starving, hungry, cold, and I send my heat, my blanket, and my soup to some total stranger, what am I to my brother? Certainly not his keeper. No, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean don't help those in need. But you take care of home first. You take care of home first. Right? We the people, please, don't let these people disappear. And I ask you, we the people, don't let these people do that and just get away. We still have time. It is all happening. They set a lot of things in motion, but we do have time to hold them accountable for what they are doing to people, for what they have done, because some of the things can't be reversed. Outside an act, a divine act, no, no, because the people aren't prepared, and they made the people this way, dumbed them down. They don't teach them anything worth of value, show them anything worth of value, and they stuff them full of nonsense. Now they tell you, oh, it may be 2 years, 3 years, inflation is this, inflation is that. They changed the definition of inflation on you. They changing the definition of a recession. They changing the definition of a vaccine. They'll flip the game to whatever they want it to be. Why do I like this? A physical thing? Because you can reach out, touch it, you can do anything. Worst came to worst, you can always melt it, scrap it. But I hope you enjoy the beauty in it. That's what we do here at PM Galleria. And please, like, subscribe, comment, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your take on things. This is 7 Lean Cows from the series Things of Old by PM Galleria. I appreciate you coming by, we the people. I hope you got something of value out of this. Enjoy your evening.